you're in for a scare.
Good evening. Welcome to the OCTOBERFEST 2025. A full month of horror and Halloween classics. One video every single day in October. And we're starting with one of the most iconic horror films of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. This is a movie that not only redefined the slasher genre, but it also introduced us to one of the most terrifying villains in cinema history, Freddy Krueger. Directed by the late great Wes Craven, Nightmare on Elm Street came at a time when the slasher genre was already booming thanks to Halloween and Friday the 13th. But Craven wanted to take it in a new direction. Instead of a mass killer stalking victims in the real world, he introduced a supernatural boogeyman who could get you whenever you were most vulnerable, in your dreams. And that hook alone was genius. The film follows Nancy Thompson and her friends in the quiet town of Springwood. Everything seems normal until the dreams start. Tina, one of Nancy's friends, has reoccurring nightmares about a scarred man that has knives for fingers. And when she's brutally murdered in her sleep, things take a horrifying turn. Nancy realizes that all her friends are having the same dream about Freddy Krueger. And the real kicker is, if Freddy kills you in the dream, you die in real life. That's the core terror of this movie, and you can't avoid sleep forever. As the film goes on, Nancy becomes the ultimate final girl, and instead of running and hiding, she takes the fight directly to Freddy. She sets traps, pulls him into the real world, and shows a resilience that would set her apart as one of horror's greatest heroines. Now, we can't talk about the movie without diving into Freddy himself, played brilliantly by Robert Englund. Freddy is unlike Michael or Jason. He talks, he taunts, and he takes sadistic pleasure in tormenting his victims. His burned face and bladed gloves become instant horror imagery. What makes Freddy so terrifying is the helplessness he represents. Sleep is unavoidable. Sooner or later, you're going to close your eyes. And when you do, he's waiting. The film works on more than just a surface level. On one hand, it's a classic slasher, but on another, it taps into deeper psychological fears. Fear of adolescence, the divide between teenagers and cluelessness, parents, who refuse to believe them, consequences of past sins, because Freddy only exists because the parents of Elm Street took justice into their own hands and burned him alive. Their children are paying the price. There is a loss of safety because even in your own bed, your dreams aren't even safe anymore. This is horror rooted in the subconscious, and Wes Craven didn't just make a scary movie, he made a metaphor for how trauma and guilt haunt generations. Tina's death scene in particular is still shocking to this day, with her body being dragged up the walls and across the ceiling. Johnny Depp's bed scene is one of the most infamous kills in horror history, with a geyser of blood exploding from his bed. Nancy setting traps for Freddy is a great role reversal, showing that she's not just prey, she is fighting back. These practical effects hold up incredibly well today, and honestly, they're part of what makes Elm Street so timeless. The movie launched not only a franchise but a horror icon, because Freddy Krueger would go on to star in countless sequels, crossover films, and even a remake. And while the series had its ups and downs, the first film stands apart as pure nightmare fuel. Wes Craven's creation gave us a villain who thrived on creativity, dreams, and fear itself. And that's why Freddy endures to this day.
No running in the hallway.
For me, A Nightmare on Elm Street is a perfect way to start October because it's inventive, it's scary, it's surprisingly smart under all that gore, and it mixes slasher tropes with psychological horror, and it still feels fresh even 40 years later. And even recently, a few years ago, I was on vacation, an old theater was playing this film in there, and it was so awesome. It's an absolute must-watch for Halloween season, and a film that continues to inspire horror fans and filmmakers alike. So with that, that's going to wrap up the first day of OCTOBERFEST 2025, but don't get too comfortable because tomorrow we're diving into another horror classic. Freddy might get you in your sleep, but I'll be right back here tomorrow to keep the scares going. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss a single Oktoberfest upload this month. And with that, sweet dreams.